Hello friends, and welcome to another How to Make Armor tutorial. This time I'll be demonstrating the leather crafting process for the Imperial Knight breastplate as we build towards the next full suit of armor. Some of the tools and materials in this project were provided by Weaver Leather. I will have an affiliate link in the description to their online store full of fantastic leather and tools. Head over to the store at princearmory.com if you'd like to make this project yourself. Since I'll be cutting this project out by hand, the first step is to print the patterns. I'll be using my Glowforge to cut the buckle straps, but those two can be cut by hand as well. The pattern will come as one big layout, so when you go to print, you will have to select the Print Tile Large Pages option. This option may look different depending on the app you're using to view and print the PDF. If you don't have this option, you may need to try another app like Adobe Acrobat or Foxit Reader to print. This layout method allows you to scale the patterns easily to virtually any size, and you can use any common everyday printer. This pattern is adjustable and may fit you perfectly at the default scale, but it is still important to print out the patterns first and to make a mock-up to ensure fit before committing materials to the project. You should aim to scale the pattern to get a close fit and then perfect it by adding or removing from the side panels. You can also remove the bottom plate to shorten the breastplate. When you have the pages printed, you will need to join them. You can do this in sections, or you can assemble the entire sheet and cut out the patterns from there. Most printers will have a margin, so make sure to account for that when taping them together. I like to trim away the margins where the lines will meet so I can clearly see how they need to line up. For this project, I'm using a natural strap side of 9 to 10 ounce vegetable tan leather from Weaver. The majority of this leather ended up being around 11 ounces. I'm using a fine point Sharpie to trace the patterns to the leather. Note that the center pattern pieces require you to mirror the pattern while tracing to complete the pattern. If you are having trouble tracing on flimsy printer paper, you can always transfer the papered pattern to something more solid like poster board first and then trace. This is something you may want to do anyway when making a paper mock-up to test the fit. I'm using a hole punch to mark the hole placements. This is a good way to precisely mark the hole locations that won't easily get lost in tooling or dye. A side of leather naturally comes with varying consistencies at different areas of the hide, so I'm prioritizing my layout of the center parts along the firmer back and spine of the sides, and the side pieces further in on the softer portions of the leather. I like to use the utility knife to loosely separate all the pieces so they are easier to maneuver. I'll also knock out the long lines and simple straight cuts with the knife first, and then move to more complex curves with the shears. The shears I'm using here are from Weaver Leather, and they're my typical workhorse for cutting, and they make easy work of even thick and dense leather. To make this process even easier, I'll often quickly dunk the leather pieces first into water. This also helps prime the pieces for tooling at later stages. One of the simple things you can do to improve the quality of every project is to give some extra care to your edges. For the side panels of the project, I will be doing a simple single border line. To achieve this, I use a wing divider to score a guideline and carve it with a swivel knife. You could also use an edge groover for a similar effect. Then the edges are beveled on top and bottom. and with my wooden handheld slicker I will burnish the edges. There are some more advanced steps you can take to make it even better, but it doesn't take much to get a smooth edge with just a little bit of water. And if you're using a really fibrous or flimsy leather, it may take some edge dressing and extra work to get a clean result. The tooling, coloration, and decoration for each project is up to you to decide. With the Prince Armory Academy, one of the goals is to demonstrate many techniques that you can choose from when building your own armor, and I try to demonstrate new options with each project and theme. So details on how to achieve this particular style of border tooling will be outlined in an upcoming video. I'm working on building up a lot of how-to content for the Academy, so keep an eye out for new technique-specific video tutorials coming soon. The color scheme I have chosen for this theme of armor is blue and black. I'm using Phoebing's blue dye and black oil dye. Like the tooling featured in this project, the coloration method used here will also have its own video, so keep an eye out for that one as well. This project does not strictly require wet molding, but it will help the look if you put a little bit of shape into some of the pieces. To do this, moisten the leather and bend and stretch the areas you want to shape over any sort of domed tool. Even a baseball or softball would be fine. Or check out my tool recommendations on the website. I'm giving a gentle curve to the chest and back plate pieces, and then a subtle arc along the spine of the back pieces. I normally pre-shape the pieces after tooling, and then adjust the final form after applying my finish while it is drying. I've also touched on wet molding in previous tutorials if you'd like to get more insight on this process, and I do have specific videos covering this process in greater detail coming as well. I'll be starting the assembly with the front chest plate. Start by setting your rivets along the center first and then along the top. When I reach the last few rivet spots along the bottom, I'll hold off on setting those, as I'll be setting the retaining strap with the rivet later, which sits under the top panel. Also note that this chest piece will acquire a slight curved shape to it as you assemble it, so you'll need to either elevate your rivet setting surface as seen here, or turn the piece over and hammer it flat from the back. Next, I will attach the top pieces of the front chest piece. Then I will attach the side panels to all of the center panels. The smaller side panels go to the bigger center panels, and the wider side panels go with the more narrow center panels. final thing to assemble and bring the pieces together is the retaining strap. I suggest using something thin but firm. You want something with a bit of flexibility, but something that will not stretch out too much over time. I'm using some 2 to 4 ounce kangaroo leather here. I'm using a straight edge to make about a 1 inch wide strap. If you wish to shorten the breastplate, you can either scale this breastplate down, remove a bottom panel, or shorten the distance between the plates when attaching them to the retaining straps. If you wish to adjust the width or the girth of the breastplate, again you can scale the breastplate up or down entirely, or you can add or remove width to all the side panels according to your own needs. The best fit will often be a combination of the above, so again, always make at least a paper mock-up to make sure you have the fit the way you want it. I like to start by attaching the retaining strap to the bottom panel first and work my way up. Once you finish attaching it to the top panels, you can finish closing up the center chest plate. To bring the parts together and make the breastplate adjustable, we will be using buckle straps. I have a free buckle guide and a pattern pack available at the website for anyone to download, so you have many options available. But one of my favorite uses for a laser cutter is buckle straps, so that's what I'll be demonstrating here. I'm able to easily get really complex and intricate shapes at the press of a button. The leather I'm using is a pre-cut section of leather from Weaver. It's a great size for the Glowforge specifically, but it's also a good option for first-time leather crafters as well. This is a premium piece of leather that is pre-cut from a prime area of hide, so the price per foot is higher, but the upfront cost is more manageable compared to a full side. This is 8 ounce leather, and I'm applying some masking tape to prevent charring on the surface from cutting. Having a laser cutter is a big quality of life addition when it comes to repetitive items like buckle straps. Plus, it lets you easily turn what is normally a boring strap into a decorative element with a much more interesting shape. So it saves a ton of time as well as increasing the value of your projects. If you're doing leathercraft or other fabrication professionally, a tool like this can quickly pay for itself. And if you decide to get a machine like this for yourself, you can save $500 if you use my affiliate link. As I mentioned in my last video, the Glowforge is new to me, so I'll be sharing my learning process with you so you can learn from my mistakes as I go. In this case, when I imported the file with the straps, I did not really notice that a few of the straps were just a tiny sliver over the cutting area in the software, so the laser did not cut these particular parts out. But since I had the leather taped down, it was pretty easy to just remove the successfully cut straps from the layout and move the uncut ones down a little bit. The built-in preview makes this a breeze. I'm using the Z150 roller buckles in black as well as medium double cap rivets also in black. If you're new to this channel, the primary focus so far has mostly been educational content that will teach you leather crafting and armor crafting. The scope of videos will broaden over time, but this is my first focus for now, and this tutorial is part of a full series which will build a full head-to-toe suit of armor and leather. Each video tutorial also demonstrates slightly different techniques. This is the second suit so far, and the first suit has a tutorial series and bundle already available at princearmory.com. These first videos jump somewhere into a middle skill level, and with future content I expect to fill in the gaps for first-time leather crafters to help get them started, and I will continue to develop more complex patterns with advanced techniques as well. There are many tutorials already available for free, with some premium courses coming as well. We also have some community projects with patterns you can donate to or even download for free to get started. Also make sure you're subscribed to our newsletter to get updates, discounts, gift cards, and access to our giveaways. Thank you to our patrons for their continued support of this content. Our Academy patrons have beta and early access to new patterns. I have a lot of fresh content planned this year for Patreon as well, so now would be a great time to sign up. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.